Welcome to today's live stream. I hope you are feeling well. We are back together. It is Wednesday. I hope you are having a really good day today. How is your Wednesday? Is it going well, or is it going super duper? I really hope it is. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I hope you are feeling good today. Now apparently already people are saying that my video is not running, and I'm just going to check to make sure it is. It would appear to be working all right here. So I am just checking my own video output and it is working okay. My name is Duncan. I live in England. I talk about the English language. You might say that I am an English addict. In fact, I really like English very much. Can you see what I'm doing here? I like it, and I hope you like it as well. We are back together, and it is, of course, Wednesday. It is lovely to have your company on this wonderful Wednesday, even though at the moment outside it is looking a little bit gloomy. There it is, the view outside the window. The big question I have is, what are they doing in the field in the distance? If you look closely, you can see there is some activity taking place in the field towards the bottom left of the screen. I really want to find out what they are up to because I'm very nosy. I'm a nosy person. I'm always watching. I'm always interested in what people are doing. One of the things, and I'm sure you have this situation as well, maybe you are a person who is always interested to find out what your neighbours are doing. Sometimes you might hide behind the curtains and have a little look outside to see what the neighbours are doing. One of the things I always notice is when one of our neighbours around here is having something delivered, maybe something new and expensive, perhaps a new piece of furniture. So even I am nosy. It is true. But to be honest with you, I do think it is part of human behaviour. We are all a little bit nosy when you think about it. So that is the introduction out of the way. My name is Duncan and I love English so much. I was outside last night in the freezing cold. It was cold last night here in the UK. Did anyone else see the wonderful harvest moon last night? I went outside and this is the actual harvest moon that I filmed last night. Look at that. So that is my video clip. I filmed this last night. Sadly, the eclipse hadn't arrived, so there was also a partial eclipse last night as well. So there it is, the moon going by, the harvest moon. Some people are calling it the supermoon because it is much larger than it normally is, because it is somewhat closer to Earth. So that's the reason why it looks so large. But it was a beautiful moment. I was outside filming the harvest moon. There is something quite nice about seeing a natural event. Nothing fascinates me more than nature, or maybe something that exists in nature that is beautiful to look at. You might even say that the experience is spiritual. Mr. Duncan. Now, I know I've mentioned this in the past. I don't follow any particular religion. However, that does not mean I don't have some spiritual feeling. For example, maybe something you observe in nature. For example, last night I was watching the moon slowly glide across the sky. And there is a moment that you have, a connection with something that is natural. It is occurring naturally. So from my point of view, when I talk about being spiritual, I suppose I'm talking about the connection that you have with the world around you. Sometimes when you see a certain thing, or maybe you hear something, maybe the birds singing first thing in the morning, or if you look out the window and you can see the sun rising, there is something that happens. You feel something. You can't quite explain what it is, but you feel a connection with that thing. So from my point of view, my spiritual feeling is that actual connection. And I think we all have this, and it affects each person in a different way. So I know a lot of people say, Mr. Duncan, we know you're not religious, but I am kind of spiritual. I like to think that there is a connection with myself and the natural world around me. In fact, I am, I suppose, part of that natural world. And guess what? So are you as well. I find those things fascinating. I find them intriguing in certain ways. I suppose you might say that today's live stream has a spiritual connection, because today we are looking at karma. Now, this is something I was going to do on Sunday. Unfortunately, we completely ran out of time on Sunday. So today we are looking at that. We are looking at spiritual things. We are looking at karma. Now, there are many ways of expressing that particular thing. It is a little bit more complex than you might imagine. And sometimes it is also misunderstood as well. Hello to the live chat. Hello, live chat. It's nice to have you here as well. I wonder who was first on today's live chat. Let's have a look. Oh, very nice. Once again, Vitas, you are first on today's live chat. I don't know how you do it. How do you do it? What is the secret of your finger? I think Vitas deserves some sort of award, some sort of medal, perhaps, for having the fastest finger on the internet. I really, really think so. Thank you very much for joining me today. Also, can I say hello to Beatrice? Beatrice at the moment is up in the mountains. Apparently, your signal is not very good today, but I hope you can join us as much as you can. That's all I can say. Also, we have Palmyra. We also have Nematullah. Hello, Nematullah. It's nice to see you here as well. And of course, he is here once again. You know who I'm talking about. It is, of course, Luis Mendez is here today. Hello, Lewis. It's nice to see you back as well. We also have Christina. Hello, Christina. I believe you have been busy cycling around on your bicycle. In fact, I know you have because I've seen the pictures. I have photographic evidence to show me that that really did happen. Almarj is here as well. Hello, Almarj. Nice to see you back. Also, we have Franco Ferrari. Hello, Franco. Nice to see you here as well. Also, Zain. Now, I hope I pronounce your name correctly. Zain Ul Abidin. Is that your name? Did I say it correctly? I really do hope so. Hello also to Kinback Group. That sounds like some sort of organisation or some sort of company, perhaps. What do you do? Please let me know. Maybe I can give you a free advertisement on my little live stream. Osama Healer is here as well. Thank you for joining me again. I did see you last week. I think I also said hello to you last week as well. Giovanni is here. Yes, Mr. Duncan, I saw the harvest moon at around about 6 a.m. and it was hiding behind the clouds. We were very lucky last night because we had perfect clear sky, and so I was able to film the harvest moon as it went across the sky, and there it is. There is the video that I filmed last night. A wonderful moment of time. Mr. Steve was not with me. He wasn't very interested. But then we decided to take a look at the moon together. And we both became rather enchanted, as Mr. Steve would say, or as I would say, enchanted. It was an enchanting moment, as Mr. Steve would say, or as I would say, enchanting. If something is enchanting, it means it is wonderful, something that is wonderful to behold and see. You are mesmerized by that thing. The thing you are looking at is captivating. It is enchanting, as Mr. Steve would say. Who else is here today? Hello to Soviet Porozinok. Hello to you as well. We have a lot of new names here today. If it is your first time, if you've never been here, if you've never chatted before, please say hello, and I will say hello to you as well. Hello, Kamarj or Kamraj Joshi, who is watching in Nepal. Hello to you. Thank you for joining me again today. Hamda. Hello, Hamda Adam, who says, I am new to this channel. Welcome. And I hope you have a good time here. Very nice. If it is your first time, please let me know on the live chat. As you know, I always like looking at words and phrases, and today is no exception. Here is an interesting phrase that we often use in English when we are in a situation or a difficult predicament. Now, there is an interesting word. A predicament is a situation that you find yourself in. Maybe you are stuck in a certain situation. And this particular phrase does relate to that state. If you are in a difficult situation, maybe something you can't get out of. We can say that you are stuck in a catch-22 situation. Catch-22. That is a great phrase. We often use it in English to describe a situation with no way out. There is no way of escaping that situation, or there is no way of actually resolving that situation. The method of trying to escape will only create a similar or worse problem. So in other words, you are stuck in a situation that you can't get out of. It is something that you can try to escape from it, or you can try to resolve the problem, but it won't solve it. In fact, sometimes you might find yourself going round and round in circles. We often describe this particular thing as catch-22, a paradoxical situation. So when we talk about something being paradoxical, it is something that can't be solved. There is no actual solution. There is nothing you can do to change that thing, even if you try. It is a kind of puzzle. It is something you can't solve. A paradoxical situation, to be trapped in a bureaucratic mess of contradictory rules. And this does happen quite often here in the UK. If you are trying to do anything that needs some sort of official permission, sometimes it can take a very long period to actually solve that thing. Maybe if you want to make some changes to your house, perhaps you have to apply to the local council, and they will then write back to you, or they will visit your property to see what changes you want to make. But sometimes you can be stuck in a situation where you are trying to follow the rules, but unfortunately, every time you try to correct the problem, or if you try to move forward, there is always another problem that comes along. You might find yourself in a catch-22 situation. A no-win dilemma or paradox. So if there is no way of winning or no chance of succeeding, you might find yourself in a catch-22 situation. The title, by the way, is actually something that comes from a novel, the title of the novel of the same name by Joseph Heller, which is all about, I believe it's the military. So it's about trying to get out of something, trying to escape from something, but every time you try, you make the situation worse, and you end up going around and around in circles again and again. Here's a good example of a catch-22 situation. For example, you need experience to get a job, but you cannot get a job because you have no experience. So that is a good example of catch-22 in action. So you want to get a job, but if you apply for the job, you are told that you need to have experience. But if you can't get the job, how are you supposed to get the experience? And that is something that can go round and round in a circle, or a type of cycle. So a situation that you find yourself in that is almost inescapable, or maybe there is no actual solution to that problem. In fact, sometimes when you try to put that thing right, or if you try to solve it, you can actually make it worse. Hence, the catch-22 scenario. Some things are not easy to solve, whilst others are almost impossible. That is a good phrase, and maybe one that you've heard before. Maybe you've expressed it, normally in frustration. It's something you find hard to solve, a difficult problem to put right. It is a catch-22 situation. It is something that is not easy to put right. Hello to the live chat again. I don't want to forget you. Maruzio is here. Hello to you. I was looking at some photographs last night of the wonderful time we had in Italy way back in June. It seems like a very long time ago now when we had that wonderful rendezvous in Italy. It was the most amazing time. We really did have a wonderful, wonderful time. Giovanni. Hello, Giovanni. It's nice to see you here as well. Who else is here today? A lot of people joining in. I think sometimes some of you are a little bit shy. Now, what I always say is never be shy. Sometimes it is good to push yourself forward. So if you've never typed on the live chat, do it now. Say, hello, Mr. Duncan. It's okay. We're all very friendly here. Well, most of them, anyway. Giovanni, why is it called Catch-22? It comes from a novel that was written of the same name, and it refers to a certain rule. So maybe a rule from a list of rules that are put forward. So a no-win dilemma or a paradox. The title or the name or the word comes from the novel of the same name by Joseph Heller. So it is all about a person trying to get out or avoid something. But every time they try to do it, they only make the situation worse. So you do have to be careful whenever you try to take action against something. You must be careful because you might make the situation worse than it already is. And then you end up going round and around. Catch-22 is what we call it. Christina says, I have so many catch-22 situations to resolve. I remember when I was living in China, one of the big problems of living in a country like China, where they have lots of rules and regulations, and quite often they will change the rules every day. They will make up or change the rules. So if you want to do something, or if you want to get some sort of approval from the local authority, sometimes it can take many weeks or months to do it because the rules are so complicated, and quite often the rules will actually change. So this is one of the parts of, I suppose you would call it, the nature of Chinese government, where they often change or move the rules around. And sometimes they do it to make it more difficult for you to get what you want. So it can happen. I think quite often we can all find ourselves in catch-22 situations and things that are difficult to resolve. Another word that I heard the other day. Now, a lot of people at the moment here in the UK are talking about politics. There are certain jobs, certain professions that you might go into where you get some benefits. Quite often, something that will come with the job. And it might be a very nice thing. It might be something that will help you do your job, but it might also be something that makes you happy in your job. So this particular word we are about to look at is an interesting word that can be used in more than one way. And the word is perk. P-E-R-K. Perk. So I will look very briefly at this before we move on to our main subject. What is a perk? First of all, as a noun, the word perk means an incidental benefit gained from a certain type of employment or a customary benefit, something that is given with another thing, perhaps in a job. So maybe you take a certain job, and in that job you will get some other benefits that might make your life better. So they are things that you need for your job, but also they are things that are beneficial to you. They make your life rather nice. So as a noun, it is an abbreviation of perquisite. So there it is, perquisite. So we use the word perk as an abbreviation of that particular word, perquisite. It's a very strange word, and that's the reason why we say perk instead, because it is much easier to pronounce and also say. As a verb, we can also use the word perk as a verb. Something you are gaining, something that you are using, something that comes with something else. Maybe you are feeling in a certain way as well. So we can use it as a verb. Perk means the action of being uplifted. Maybe something makes you feel happy, having one's spirits raised after a bad experience. We can say that something will perk you. It is something that will perk you up. It is making you feel happy. Oh, perhaps you've had a period of illness. Perhaps you've been unwell for a period of time. Something might be given to you, and then it will perk you. You feel better because of it. Another way of describing the word, something that makes you feel better after drinking it or experiencing it. We have some sentences here that we can use. For example, this cup of coffee has really perked me up. I always perk up after hearing your voice. To make a person happy, you are bringing out a moment of joy. Something makes you feel better. Perhaps in the morning you wake up and you don't feel very happy, and then you open the curtains and you see the blue sky, and that particular sight will perk you up. You feel happier because of that moment of time, rather like the experience I had last night watching the moon. It was a wonderful moment. The word perk describes the benefits received whilst in a certain job position. So quite often, if you work for a certain company, you might get something extra. For example, you might get a car that is provided to you by your company. We often refer to it as a company car. So a car is provided for you in your job. So you might describe the car as a perk. It is a perk of the job. It comes with the job, but also it is something that is quite enjoyable to have. So I hope that helps with that particular word, because many people have been using it over the past few days for various reasons. Bing! And that was that. Giovanni. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Giovanni. I always perk up when I hear the British accent. I am crazy. Do you mean I am crazy about it? Christina asks, does it mean cheer up? Yes, you can. You can cheer up. Cheer up. Perk. Something makes you feel better. It lifts your spirits. Can I say hello to Philippe Gasson? Hello to you, Philippe. I think it might be your first time. I will give you a round of applause. Also, we have hello to Mango. Hello, Mango. Thank you very much. You also decided to type something on the live chat. Thank you, Mango. That is very kind of you. And I suppose I should keep my promise and give you a round of applause as well. It is as simple as that. All you have to do is type, hello, Mr. Duncan, if it is your first time, if you've never typed anything on the live chat. Go on, give it a try. Hello also to, who else is here? Just one more person and then I will move on with today's subject. I think I've already said hello to Hamda, but I will say it again. Hello, Hamda. Nice to see you here as well. Here we go. Today's big subject. We are looking at the subject of karma. Now, this is something that I was going to talk about on Sunday. I was going to talk about it on Sunday. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough time because Mr. Steve was talking too much. So instead, we will do it today. So in a few moments from now, we are looking at today's subject, the subject of karma. K-A-R-M-A, karma. There are many ways of expressing that particular thing. All of that in a few moments. Don't go away. This is English Addict on a Wednesday afternoon.
I'm a big boy now.
We are here today, and now there is no mistaking what this is. English Addict is with you today. My name is Mr. Duncan. I talk about the English language. You might say that I like English very much. By the way, if you like this, can you please give me a lovely like as well? That would be ever so nice. It is a lovely day here, even though we don't have much sunshine. But I have to say, can I just show you the view out of the window today? It looks absolutely glorious. It almost looks like some sort of landscape art, but it isn't. It's actually the view outside my studio window right now. It is a beautiful day. It does feel as if autumn is now coming because, of course, we have officially left summer. We are now heading towards autumn, and already some of the leaves on the trees are beginning to change their shade. So it really does feel as if autumn is on the way. Here we go then, today's subject. And it is an interesting one. As I mentioned at the start of today's live stream, I'm not a deeply religious person. However, I would describe myself as spiritual. And that means quite often I feel as if I'm in touch with parts of the world around me. I think we all feel this from time to time. Maybe you see a beautiful landscape. I remember when I was on holiday meeting up with all of you in Italy. We went to Tuscany and we visited a beautiful part of Tuscany. Very nice. And there was a moment where I was standing looking at the landscape, and it was uplifting. It was something that connected not only with yourself here, but also here as well. Very interesting moment of time. So today we are looking at an interesting subject, karma. And it is something that is often misinterpreted or misunderstood. So I think today, before we finish today's live stream, we will quickly go through all of these points. And there it is. The word is karma. Hello, up there. I can see you. Ignore me. I have these pains in the head sometimes. Here we go then. The word karma relates to the belief of cause and effect of actions. So we often look at things happening and the outcome or the result of those things occurring. It is an ancient Indian concept that refers to an action, work or deed and their effects and consequences. So this actual thing does come from ancient times. In fact, the word karma comes from Sanskrit. That is where it originates from. So we often think of karma as being something connected to a spiritual moment or a certain religion. In Indian religions, the term more specifically refers to a principle of cause and effect, often descriptively called the principles of karma. So you might see that word used in many places or used by people in their everyday lives. However, there is a much deeper significance to that actual word as well. An individual's intent and actions. So I suppose I should explain that word, intent. When we say intent, it means the thing a person is going to do willingly. Your intent. You intend to do that. Something you are going to do, your will to do something. So in that particular sense, a person's will to do something is an individual's intent and, of course, their actions. So we might describe that as the cause, the thing you are doing. So whenever we talk about an action, we are talking about cause. One action will always have a reaction. Something might have an influence on a person's future, so it might influence their own future. So something you do can affect your life in the future. Quite often we will refer to that as the effect. So the action is the cause, the reaction is the effect. And these are all, I would say they are all basic principles of what we often refer to as karma. This relates to how a person will be in their next life. So from the actual religious point of view, the belief is that we don't just have one life. We come into the world, we leave the world, and then we return again. So this relates to how a person will be, or how they will be reincarnated. There are people who believe in reincarnation. Most Hindus believe in reincarnation, which means that while one may enter bodies with birth and leave with death, life itself does not precisely begin or end. You might describe it as a cycle or a wheel going around and around. The term karma is generally used as a way of expressing the results of actions in this life. So again, from a spiritual point of view or a religious point of view, or even in general day-to-day life, we often refer to karma. This term is often used in a general sense to state the future based on one's actions in the past. So, in other words, the things you do will determine the things that happen later. It is almost like cause and effect. The things you do now will affect you later. So in the religious terms, it will be in your future life. So if you are good in this life, the next one will be good as well. It is a very helpful way of encouraging people to behave themselves, I think. The sense of karma, or the feeling that if you are bad, bad things will happen to you later. A bad deed done will eventually come back on you. It might be a thing that you do, and then later it will come back on you, which might sound like a very strange way of describing that. But if something comes back on you, it means you will have to pay the price, or you will have to face the consequences. It is often expressed in the phrase, you reap what you sow. Generally, this phrase is used to express a very simple thing. If you do bad stuff will happen to you. If you do bad things, if you behave in a bad way, eventually those things will come back to you. Not always in a spiritual way, but maybe because you are not a very nice person. So it can happen. In fact, it happens quite a lot. A bad person will eventually get their comeuppance. Now there is a very interesting word. As you know, I love introducing new words. So maybe this is the first time that you've ever heard this word. Comeuppance. A person's comeuppance means that is their reward or punishment for something they did. It is often referred to as payback. You will get payback for something you did in the past. Maybe something you did to another person, maybe an evil act or something you did that was bad. A negative or positive feeling sensed can also use the word karma. So not just spiritually. In fact, I would say that in general terms, karma is often used as a good vibration or a bad vibration, a feeling of something good happening in the future or something possibly bad happening in the future. Maybe you are sensitive to something happening in the future. Maybe you sense negativity. We often describe it as bad karma. Maybe you go into an old house and you feel uncomfortable. You're not sure why, but you feel uncomfortable. We can say that it is bad karma. You sense positivity, good karma. So there are many ways of expressing karma in different ways. So I am not looking at this subject spiritually. I am looking at the subject as a whole, the whole subject. For those who are wondering why I am talking about this, karma is observed in different faiths, in the Hindu faith and also in Buddhism as well. So I am not a Buddhist. I am also not a Hindu. But these religions do exist, and it is often referred in general situations. When we talk about karma, it is often referred to in many different situations where cause and effect is referenced. So if you talk about a person who has done bad things in their life and then later on they suffer some sort of consequence, or maybe something happens to them that is bad, you might say that that is karma. We often talk about that thing generally. So not just from a religious sense, but also from the appearance of what has happened. If you do bad things, then eventually something bad will happen to you. So it is often referred to in general situations where cause and effect occurs. We might say credit card karma, which is something you have that might bring bad things in the future. For example, if you have a credit card, you might start borrowing money. You might start spending the money. But eventually, of course, you have to pay that money back. So you might say that credit card karma means that it's very nice having it, but if you misuse that particular thing, in the future you will have problems. You might have some sort of difficulty, especially when you have to pay the money back, as we all do. That is one of the problems with borrowing something. You have to give it back, and it can be a little awkward. It would be fair to say that a person who often does bad things will eventually get caught or punished for their actions. So again, there are more than one way, or there is more than one way of looking at this particular subject. You can look at it completely religious, spiritual, or of course from a person's day-to-day actions. A bad person will eventually have something bad happen to them. because they are a bad person. So this is often described as karma. That is your punishment. That is what happens when you do bad things. Eventually, it will all come back on you. Christina says, whoever sows the wind will reap the storm. That is a very good expression. I like that. So yes, you reap what you sow. So if you are a bad person who does bad things, eventually something bad will happen to you because you are always doing something that is harmful or cruel or hurtful. So eventually another person might decide to stand up to you. They might decide to punish you in response. So that is the reason why we often refer to karma. What goes round comes round. If you do bad things, eventually bad things will come back to you. So I hope you enjoyed that. It is sometimes interesting to look at these concepts because they are not as simple as they may first appear. So that is the reason why I wanted to talk about that today. Giovanni. Hello, Giovanni. Giovanni has given some expressions for Mr. Steve to learn. I will make a note of those and I will pass them on to Mr. Steve and let him know. Maurizio is going now. So the next time you do something bad, the next time you do something wrong, the next time you do something against another person, beware, because karma might be lurking around. Of course, you can use the word in a negative and positive way. You can get good karma from something that makes you feel positive, or maybe something that makes you optimistic about the future. And as I said earlier, you can also have bad karma, something that gives you the feeling of apprehension about the future, something that you feel is dangerous or bad. So there was a big subject, and I hope you enjoy digesting all of that. You can, of course, watch the live stream again. All of my live streams are recorded and then they are posted on YouTube, so you can watch them again. It isn't just the live stream. You can watch this as many times as you want. Also, another good thing to remember is there are captions. So later on, this live stream will have captions underneath. And yes, I will also, if I remember, I will also include translations. This is a new thing that I've started doing on all of my videos. I've now started having all the languages or a selection of languages that you can watch the captions in. So this is a new thing. The only problem is it takes a very long time to do it. But I am trying at the moment to put lots and lots of different translations on my new videos and also on some of my live streams as well. But it might take a very long time to do it. For those wondering, I am back with you on Sunday. I am here on Sunday, and guess what? There is also a new lesson coming on Friday. There is a new lesson. I will be back with you on Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. In fact, there are many new lessons on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. If you want to know the name of it, all I have to do is turn around. And there it is. That is the channel. That is what you have to search for if you want to watch my live stream. That is all you have to do. Thank you very much for your company. I will see you on Sunday as we approach 3 o'clock, and we will be talking about a lot of things on Sunday. One thing that I might talk about with Mr. Steve is the facts of life. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Mr. Duncan, that sounds a little bit rude. But, of course, when we talk about the facts of life, we are talking about other things as well, not just the naughty things. So if I remember, if I can put it down on a piece of paper to remind me, we will talk about that on Sunday. Thank you very much for your company today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a very nice week. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Don't forget to look out for my new lessons as well. Thank you for your company. Thank you very much for your lovely messages today. It's always nice to see you here, by the way. It's always nice to have your company. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of the English language, saying thanks for watching, see you later, and of course, until the next time we meet, you know what's coming next, yes you do. As I always say, ta-ta for now. See you on Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time. Yes.